joining us as well. But let me begin with Mr. Vivek Thanka. Mr. Thanka, I want to understand from you, sir, what does one do now in this situation?
It's a very bizarre situation. I can't imagine an airline collapsing like this in 24 hours. I'm sure this issue must have been known to them or known to the government and known to the ministry and known to the DGCA. Didn't they anticipate that this sort of a problem is going to arise on a scale and dimension which is so mammoth? I mean, thousands of people, lakhs of people are affected by what happened today. Passengers, I was feeling so bad for them when I was looking at the pictures. What is their mistake to expect that these airlines would operate lawfully, correctly, and in a manner that they bring comfort to the passengers? I think it's completely wrong what has happened. It's a huge administrative lapse. It's high time that the government understood and pinpoints who are the people responsible for this lapse, take strict action, because I don't think this sort of a thing is acceptable in a country which is governed by law, and you claim to be one of the most developed countries of the world, and you say it's a 5 trillion and 10 trillion economy. This is no way to treat your people. So I think what has happened today is horrendous. It should have never happened. It's a case of huge maladministration, and people responsible for causing trouble to the passengers must be identified and punished.
Mr. Thanka, on that note, sir, as per reports, and of course this is out there for public to consume as well, IndiGo and other airlines had about 2 years to prepare to implement some of the new rules that had come in for pilot safety, right? They were directed by the Delhi High Court to implement them. They had 2 years to do that. And as per some reports, IndiGo chose not to do it in that period of time. They chose to instead place a hiring freeze and not bring in more pilots and more flying officers as the need would arise. But they've continued to book flights. They knew that by come November, these rules will be implemented entirely. So in such a situation, I want to understand from a legal point of view from you, sir, what is it that passengers can do? What is it that some other consumer forums and associations can do against IndiGo so that this becomes a case study and people can learn from it?
This has both implications. It has civil and criminal implications. They are exposing them. They have exposed themselves to being suited in consumer courts, consumer forums, because you have caused grave and irreparable loss and damage to so many passengers. Somebody is going to get married, somebody has a visa interview, somebody is going to meet his ailing parents, or somebody has all kinds of urgencies. People travel only when it's an urgent thing. So it's a huge injustice. I think it's not a case where now individual passengers should be going to court. Maybe some sort of a community damage should be levied on IndiGo on a public scale. I think we should develop that jurisprudence for these airlines. Number two, it's also in a sense criminal negligence. It's rashness, it's recklessness. You can't do this with people. If I'm running a public service, am I allowed to do these things with the general public? The general public didn't have notice of your difficulties. And I think government is as much responsible as IndiGo. If government knew that IndiGo was remiss, it should have been warning IndiGo publicly, passing orders, imposing fines. You didn't do all that for all these years. So both are remiss for what happened to the people today.
At the same time, Mr. Thanka, why do you think IndiGo continued booking flights and creating schedules when it knew that sooner rather than later it will have to re-roster its pilots as per the new rules, and it won't be able to fly as many flight options as earlier? Why didn't they just simply change some of the timings? Why did they continue taking on these bookings and then creating this entire hassle of cancellations and refunds for people?
No, you're correct. I don't know why they were doing it. This is a question you have to ask IndiGo. But it gives an impression of a very irresponsible organization. That's all I can say. I mean,
Okay.
they're exposing themselves to all kinds of prosecutions and civil actions. This is not the way to treat people of India. And what is the message that you're giving? That what is the governance level of governance in this country? DGCA should have also taken the people of India into confidence, or passengers into confidence. I'm only saying that all because all this came very suddenly for the passengers. They didn't have any notice. I mean, I was supposed to travel to Chennai tomorrow or day after. I have also changed my ticket now from IndiGo to Air India because I don't rely on IndiGo anymore. I said, if this is how they're going to operate, who would like to fly IndiGo in these circumstances?
And at the same time, Mr. Thanka, the DGCA has today revised its rule on pilot rest, which is what basically caused a lot of this chaos and mayhem. So that IndiGo and other airlines have some ease in rostering till the time they can figure out their administration. But what sort of a message does that send, sir?
You don't figure out things after the damage is done. Good governance means you figure out things before the damage starts. This is what I call good governance. What was the aviation minister doing for all these months? Was he not aware of this thing happening today? Wasn't the DGCA aware of this thing happening today? And if you take this step, what would be the repercussion? So while IndiGo is completely remiss, it needs to be penalized, it needs to be punished, but at the same time, I think the government also, by not taking us into confidence, the people into confidence, and imposing putting some warnings and fines before you took the final action. The government is also remiss.
All right, Mr. Thanka, before I let you go, so you're a member of parliament as well. Does this crisis now warrant a special session of parliament? Does it warrant a parliamentary committee to look into what exactly happened?
Not a special session, but certainly a discussion in parliament. And today, I and Priyanka Chaturvedi, she was very vocal. I also supported her. We tweeted, and I'm sure on Monday, Tuesday, because there are other discussions taking place in Parliament, which according to the ruling party are more important. They want a discussion on Vande Mataram. So after Vande Mataram is over, maybe then IndiGo comes. Then we'll definitely like to have a discussion on why this happened, who are the people responsible, why this administrative failure, and more important, if everybody knew that this would happen, who are the people responsible who let it happen?
Yes, absolutely. That's the question that we're also asking as well, sir, as not just journalists but also citizens of this country, and everyone today would have a family member that has been impacted by this utter chaos that on the face of it seems so unnecessary. This is something that IndiGo had 2 years to manage and they couldn't do it. They're the largest carrier in India. It's really shameful. Mr. Thanka, thank you so much for joining us on Newsx with that perspective. We have